Hey guys, so today we're going to do this cone block thing. I'm going to show you two new commands. One is loft and the other is counterbore. So even if you are not doing Inventor, you're doing the alternate assignments, make sure you watch the video so you learn what a counterbore is because you're going to be expected to draw it. So let's start this guy off. We're going to go new, standard IPT, create, tell it okay when the weird box pops up. When you get into Inventor, go ahead and click the home button so you get your nice isometric view, and then click the chevron next to origin. On this guy, it's probably best to draw on the top view. So let's do that, which is going to be your XZ plane. Start 2D sketch. Now the base part here, we're going to draw as a rectangle, and then at the end of the video, I'll show you a command called fillet that'll round the edges. You don't want to round the edges until you have these holes drawn because it's not going to let you measure from the rounded edge correctly. Okay, so let's use rectangle to make the base, and it's 2 by 4. So click on rectangle, drag your rectangle out, click on dimension, make the width 4, use zoom alt to bring it back on your screen, and make the height 2. Go ahead and finish your sketch. Of this thing is 1/2 inch. So we're going to click on extrude. We're going to put in 1/2 inch. And there's our first extrusion of this part. Okay. Now we're going to draw the cone. And the way we're going to draw this cone is we're going to draw a circle, and then we're going to put a plane 2 inches above it, draw the smaller circle, and then use loft to connect the geometry. So first thing we do is we're going to do start 2D sketch. We're going to click on that top surface. We're going to click project cut edges, and I'm going to draw that bottom circle. And that bottom circle, this piece down here, has a diameter of 2. So I'm going to click on dimension, and I'm going to click on the circle, and I'm going to make that 2. Now, it is dead center in this thing, so you can either use your tangent constraint and click the circle and click the line, and it finds where it needs to be. And then we have to go left and right, which is going to be 2 inches. And how do I know that it is dead center? Because of that center line there. So, and how do I know that it is 2 inches from this edge to that edge to make it dead center? Well, the width is 4, and then this measurement here on the sectional view is 1 1/4, and then this other measurement is 3/4. You add those up, you get 2. So with this like this, with the circle where it needs to be, I'm going to hit finish sketch. And then I'm going to go for an isometric view. Now, this is one of those times where you're actually going to have 2 sketches that are not consumed. So now I'm going to click on plane, and I'm going to do offset from plane. I'm going to click here, and I need to see how tall the top of the cone is. And it tells me it's 2 inches. So I'm going to put in 2. And make sure that your preview, the plane goes up. Sometimes the planes flip themselves around, and you may need to put in -2 if it's going the wrong way. Tell it check mark. Okay, and now I've got this surface that's kind of like hovering above my drawing, and that's what I want. On start 2D sketch, I'm going to get the corner of that work plane. And now I'm looking down into this thing as if I'm looking through a transparency. So up here, I'm going to come up and I'm going to do project geometry. And I want to click on this circle. And I'm going to draw a circle that shares the same center. And you'll notice that once you click project geometry, it'll let you snap to the center of the circle. And I'm going to find that center of the circle, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag out another circle. Now, the diameter of this circle here is 1. So I'm going to click on dimension. I'm going to click on this guy, and I'm going to change him to 1. I'm going to click finish sketch. So now I have the big circle at the bottom and the little circle at the top. I'm going to click on loft. I'm going to click where it says sections, click to add, click there, then click your sketch, and you want this circle to highlight. Then you're going to click to add again in the dialog box, and then you're going to click just the inside circle, and you're going to tell it okay, and see how it gives you a cone. What it did is it built the geometry between the two planes from one circle to the next, which gives you a cone. So I'm going to right click and turn off that work plane. And now we're going to drill the hole in the top of this thing, which is 1/2 inch, and it looks like it goes all the way through. There's another hole on the bottom, but we'll come back to it. So we're going to use concentric reference because we're drilling a circle inside of a circle. And this guy's diameter is 1/2 inch right there. And terminations through all. Click on the red arrow for concentric reference, pick your circle, tell it okay. All right, now we've got a circle on the bottom of this thing. And the way to draw this guy is going to be doing it with a sketch and using the command that we used in the last one, hole from sketch. So we're going to click on Start 2D Sketch, click on the bottom. Under project, click on Project Geometry, pick your circle. And then we are going to put a point. Here's the point command. Click right there on the dead center of the circle and leave your point. Do Finish Sketch. Give yourself an isometric view. Click on Hole. And now the diameter of that circle is 1.5 down here, but it's only 3/4 of an inch tall, or 3/4 of an inch deep. So under termination, put in distance, and the distance is 3/4, which is 0.75, and the diameter is 1.5. Tell it okay, and now you've got like this big hole with a smaller hole inside of it. Guess what? That's called a counterbore. And we're going to draw some more counterbores here. Counterbore is a circle with a smaller diameter seated inside of a circle with a larger diameter. The big circle kind of sits on top of it like a hat. And what the reason you would draw those and the reason you would use those is if you were making something like a picnic table and you wanted to hide the top of the bolt so it didn't sit on top of the work meaning the wood or the metal, you could recess the bolt just a bit. Okay, so let's draw the other 4. Okay, so see where it shows this weird U shape over here next to the diameter? That tells me that this hole has a counterbore. Okay, and I see that I have 4 of them. One is hidden in this drawing because they put in the section and the isometric. So we're going to draw 4 holes that have a diameter of 1/2 inch and a counterbore of 1/2 inch with a depth of 1/8 inch. Okay? So, fortunately for you, Inventor makes this easy for you. We are going to go to Hole. You're going to select this option right here that says counterbore. And the measurement for the diameter of the counterbore is 1/2 inch. The depth is 1.25 of the counterbore. The distance through the whole thing is through all, so you're not going to have that. And then the diameter of the smaller hole is 0.25. I'm going to click here. And I'm going to put in my reference points. So let's go see what those are. And they're 1/2 inch from each side all the way around. So we're going to click reference. We're going to click this line. We're going to put in 0.5. We're going to click this line. We're going to put in 0.5. And we're going to tell it apply. And now you've got a nice little hole with a counterbore there. And we're going to do that 3 more times. You don't need to change any of these numbers because they're all the same. But you do need to make sure that you do your reference lines. So 0.5, 0.5, apply, click over here. 0.5 for the distance, 0.5 for the distance, apply. And we got one more on the back corner here. 0.5 and 0.5. And now, okay, so now we're going to use the fillet command, and we're going to use the fillet command to round the edges. So the rounded edges here are 1/2 inch, and I can tell that because this center line is pointing to the center of the circle, but it's also for this arc, and then it's telling me from here to here is 1/2 inch, so that's 1/2 inch fillet. It would have been better if they had just wrote 1/2 inch rounds, but they didn't. So up here on radius, you're going to change radius, click on fillet, change the radius to 0.5, and then click your corners. And it's just going to perfectly round those corners as if you had drawn a 1/2 inch arc. Tell it apply, and there is your cone block. Now we do need to reset the front because the way we drew it is not facing the correct way. So like if I go home here, it's not facing the way that the drawing's facing. So let's click on the wallet, and we're going to make this the front. All right, so click on the wallet, click on the flat surface, don't click on the fillet. Right click on the view cube, set current view as front. Click the upper right hand corner of the view cube, right click it one more time, set current view as home, fit to view. And now your drawing looks like my example. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to save it, and this thing is called the cone block. And make sure you put it in your Inventor Drawings folder. All right, so now we're going to go base. Now it wants to make that the front view. I don't really want that to be the front view. I'm going to rotate this. I'm just going to put in 2 views on this guy and an isometric. And the reason for that is the front view, because it's so symmetrical, it's not going to give you any new information in your side view that you can't get from your front and your top. So we're just going to put it in like that. So those of you who are drawing it at home without Inventor, make sure that you just draw the front and the top and the isometric. You're not doing the right side view this time. We're going to double click on the ISO, and we're going to put the color on it. And then we're going to do our center lines. So let's go to annotate, click on the plus sign, pick the biggest circle in the top view. You may have to get both sides of it. In this view, get the largest circles when you're doing a counterbore. And then we're going to do center line bisector. You click this line, and then down here you're going to get this line and this line, because it's actually kind of like a counterbore, but not. It's just 2 holes that kind of touch each other. These, however, here on the sides are the counterbores, and you can see they look like Mario tubes. You have to get both of them, both the top little circle and the bottom little circle. So you're going to get these 2 lines, and then you're going to get these 2 lines. Okay, and this is what it should look like when you're done. Go File, Save As, let it save as whatever it wants to save as. And folks in the room, you are printing to General E115, and folks at home, make sure you take that extra step, File, Export as PDF, and upload it to Canvas. Thanks, guys.